I'm Ola'pi from Ola'pi Creative, and welcome to Conversations by Water, a weekly Facebook live stream where we sit waterside with wave makers to share unfiltered, intimate, and inspiring conversations exploring what it takes to drive change locally and globally. Our mission is to create a ripple effect and empower you to affect change in your lives and communities too.
70% of the surface of planet Earth is covered in water. Also, our brain, our heart, and our lungs consist of 70% water.
That's the epitome of what the ocean is to me. It's just like my heart and soul, and it's love and it's connection.
It was something that was going to stick with him for quite a while.
I mean, read lots of books. Books will motivate you. Experience things. Experiences will motivate you. Watch interviews like this.
And I have to say, being able to go out and make an impact.
How many people do you interact with every day? You can be a change maker for all of those people.
Now it's time for us to say, okay, everybody's had their chance. Now it's time to say, we're ready. We're going to kick it off, and we're going to start making our beach the most environmentally friendly.
The faster you're going to fall in love with water, the longer and happier you're going to live.
We love water! We love you! Thank you!
Hello, my name is Ola'pi, and you are watching Conversations by Water. This is the weekly Facebook live stream in which we get to speak with wave makers in the Fort Lauderdale area as well as other areas around the country. And we're talking with people who are doing something good for the oceans and for our waterways. And so this is really fun exercise for us, and it also gives you all a chance to get to know who the movers and shakers are in the area, and maybe even give you some ideas of how you too can inspire change where you're coming from. So thank you so much to those of you who are watching. Hey Alicia, how's it going? Old swimming buddy of mine. Let me give you a little reference for where I am. So unlike Alicia, I'm on the east coast of Florida. I am with Bryan Galvin from PlasticSymptoms. And I got a chance to meet Bryan after a mutual friend of ours, marketing director of Simbi Haiti, ended up reaching out and saying, hey, of all the people that you should be following, it should be Bryan, and this amazing movement that he's already started and that he's moving on to something a little bit bigger and better even this year. So I'm really excited that we'll get a chance to talk to Bryan here in just a few. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little joke while I stop here for a second. So, why do seagulls fly over the sea? It's because if they flew over the bay, they'd be called bagels. Oh, gets him every time. I know you're laughing out there, I can see it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we have going on behind us. So the New River is one of the most historic rivers here in Fort Lauderdale, and it's actually where really the city of Fort Lauderdale ended up taking shape. You see, back in the late 1800s, this entire area was occupied by the Seminole Indians, and there was actually no water here by any means. But after a strong earthquake one night, the Seminoles that had been camping out in this area actually woke up to this raging river right there next to the banks of where they were. And it turned out this earthquake that rumbled and this big storm that happened ended up causing the caves of an underground cave, the walls of this cave, to actually fall in and expose the underwater river that was right there. And so they woke up to literally a new river right next to where they were staying. In the Seminole language, they woke up to say Himarshi. Himarshi ends up meaning new river in English. And so the name ended up sticking. So this is the New River, and that's also why we have a lot of these areas here in downtown Fort Lauderdale are known as Himarshi. So well, these little pieces of information, because I think it's just a really neat way for us to appreciate our blue backyard here in Fort Lauderdale. Our guest today, Bryan Galvin of PlasticSymptoms. Let's see if he can join us. And I so appreciate all of your patience as we're getting this up and going. Hey, there's a good.
Hey, can you see me?
I do. I see you just great. How's it going?
That's nice. Just hanging out on the beach. How are you?
See, this is exactly why I like doing it like this, is because I get to see new places of water, and we get to be in water all over the place. So, Bryan, welcome to Conversations by Water.
Hey, I'm stoked to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us where your water is. Where are you coming from?
I'm right here in Delray Beach, right next to Gulfstream Park. You can see the park actually right over here.
Oh yeah. See, that's such a nice thing about Delray is they still have all of that natural coastline there with those sea grapes and really what a normal beach is supposed to look like. It's really pretty. Oh,
Yeah,
gorgeous
this is
day.
my day job.
Which is
I lifeguard on the beach.
you're saving lives.
Yes, saving lives from not only the ocean, but also plastic, saving the ocean lives.
That's right. And you so appreciate water. Not only is it your day job, it's also part of your bigger mission, which we'll get into in a second here. But I wanted you to first tell us, what is your water? What is one of your earliest experiences with water?
Um, I reflected on that today, and my earliest experience with water would be in Cocoa Beach. My dad used to take us all the way out to the outer break, and my whole family. I'm one of 8. I have 7
Oh yeah.
siblings, and he used to bring us all out to the outer break, and he would kind of just lay on his back, and we'd all kind of just float and meander around him, and he would just be at peace, and we would kind of be like, stirring the water. But we would just drift down Cocoa Beach for probably an hour or 2 at a time.
Oh wow.
Him, if it wasn't for him just being so calm on the outer break, I don't think I would have the same respect and calm feeling in the water that I do now.
That's so beautiful. It's, no matter when I ask people that question, whether it's a good story, I mean, your first experience was really positive and calming. Being around other people who have that sense of calm ends up really rubbing off. But, even if some people have that initial fear with water, what ends up always happening is that people feel something. You've seen a lot of changes in Florida, huh?
Yeah, definitely seen a lot of changes in Florida. And one of the biggest things is one day, I started to realize that I couldn't go stepping on the beach without finding plastic. Um, uh, I can remember when I was younger building sandcastles with my family on the beach, and you might find one cigarette butt or something, if you're unlucky. But now, even people out here I see walking on the beach, I see more and more people picking up plastic on the beach. And people are kind of shocked by how much plastic is on the beach. And a lot of times people don't see it until they see somebody else picking it up.
And so, talk to us a little bit then about what your mission is with PlasticSymptoms. So, you've been around water a lot and you obviously care for it. So, where did PlasticSymptoms come from?
PlasticSymptoms start as soon as a plastic is manufactured. As soon as people decide that they're accepting plastic at the store for a water bottle or a soda or a candy or whatever it is, that's where the plastic symptoms start. They will always lead eventually to the ocean, whether it's directly or indirectly. And I worked for Publix for 9 years, and the amount of waste and the amount of styrofoam and plastic that I saw, fill up the trash bags there, it made me sick. And I started connecting the dots, working there and seeing all the plastic products. Whenever I would come out and go surfing on the beach or go for a walk or hang out with my family or friends on the beach, I'd see the same type of products that we would sell at Publix. And I just started connecting the dots that like this epidemic of marine debris is how I was introduced to the problem, was marine debris. It was kind of a confusing name in my opinion. Like you think of debris, especially being a Floridian, you think of like hurricane debris, like palm fronds, wood, driftwood, things like that. But the real problem, I mean, we should call it what it is. It's plastic. Everything else will biodegrade for the most part, and it doesn't last nearly as long. But the plastic symptoms is it's identifying the problem, which is the disease of plastic, which is convenience in our life.
And exactly the words that you're using there, the words disease and symptoms. I mean, it very much has come to the point where we are seeing some really negative impacts on our ecosystem that are trickling out all through the food web, even of the animals that are in the ocean. Of course, even the animals that we consume. I know we're now finding bits of plastic even in fish that we eat. And so what you're doing is very much connecting us to the bigger source. And you're doing it in a really very unique way. So please tell us what your first big mission was and where we can look towards for your next big mission.
So last year I did a 400-mile hike, which is from Bernardino Beach down to Miami Beach. And I set off to do it in 20 days, which would be about 20 miles a day.
Wow.
And I wanted to make it a challenge that other athletes and other people that were aware of the environmental problems would want to challenge me. And whether it was to go further or do it faster or pick up more plastic. And I kind of refrain from calling it a beach cleanup because beach cleanups are great and all for what they do, but they're not, I don't feel like they're a viable solution to the problem. So my goal was to basically show people and even myself how much plastic is on our shoreline because I was curious, but also to make a point that a single man or 100 people, male or female, could walk the entire beach forever until we died. And it wouldn't make a difference in how much plastic we take out as long as everyone's still using it. So the point of my hike last year was kind of to prove a point that you can walk the entire coast and you're not even hardly making a dent in the problem. So last year it was pretty exhausting. I ended up doing it in 22 days. I skipped a little part near Canaveral. It was about a 10 to 15 mile stretch there that I had to skip. But going back and forth and up and down the beach, I probably did like double that mileage just going back and forth. It feels like.
Oh, I think we froze up. So in case you didn't catch that, that was 400 miles that Bryan walked from Fernandina Beach down to Miami Beach over 22 days in an effort to raise awareness of the plastic problem. And when we describe the plastic problem as a faucet, it's like this. So there could be those of us who are down below who are cleaning the beaches and who are mopping up the floor in that faucet that's flooding the kitchen. Imagine the leaky faucet or that flooded faucet is actually the source, the plastic manufacturers, big companies who are still making things out of plastic. The water overflowing is the plastic itself. The water then flooding our kitchens is then the consumers, those of us who are still using the plastics. And so there's actually, when we talk about plastic problems, there's two ways in which we can actually be dealing with this. Bottom up, top down. When we talk bottom up, we're talking about beach cleanups and having participatory cleanups and activities, which is experiential and it gets people involved. But if we don't also have top-down regulations and bigger companies taking a lead and finding new materials from which to make their products and packaging, then it's still going to be a leaky faucet, a flooding faucet. So let's go back to hear what Bryan has to say. Ooh, beautiful ocean view. Thank you for that. So just to like summarize, while you were away, I was giving the faucet metaphor when we talk about plastic problems. So we're doing beach cleanups, but yet the faucet is still flooding over with plastics because it's still being manufactured from the top. So I think that was a really neat piece of awareness that you brought in that 400-mile, 22-day hike. And now you have an even bigger goal, and why is once never enough, right? When you're still healthy, you can still keep moving. So tell us what you're up to next.
So next year, I was actually sent an email from Heather Bullen, and she has worked with the Rosalia Project in the past, and she had asked if I had any plans to do another hike. Originally, I was thinking about doing the entire coast, but I kind of wanted to keep like the hike 4 miles in 20 days. Thing to, get her. But she proposed that we hike the entire coast, and I was working on a idea in cryptocurrency, and I kind of fell into the cryptocurrency when I realized that that was the perfect platform for it. And we came up with a 1,200-mile hike next year, which is going to be around the entire Florida Peninsula. And we will be using a trek, because we will be using a watercraft to get around, like South Miami, the Everglade area. And there's a lot of islands on the west coast that we're going to need to get through by watercraft. But we want to know how much plastic is on our shores, and if we can collect that data to bring to our legislature. And we decided to tokenize it. We're going to create, for every foot that we hike into the blockchain, we are going to accept donations in return for those. And we will be teaming up with charities along the entire hike. So for every so many miles of coastline, I think we're dedicating about 100 miles to each different charity. And we will be donating all the money we raise to them, as well as using some of the funds for hike, our trek, and also this upcoming program that we would like to bring into fruition. Volunteers will be able to come out, and if they come out and help collect plastic, for every foot that they hike the beach with us, we will be allowing them to mint a fresh token into the blockchain. The name of the token is Sea Change, SEA, and it will. The purpose is for people to see change as they hike, and if they want to bring change to the plastic epidemic, they will have a direct part in playing that role. Favorite part of what I do is spreading love for the ocean, spreading love for the earth, and that's through awareness of every action that we take has a reaction. And even if it's as simple as buying a plastic item from the store versus something that's more natural, those choices, those small choices, have reactions. So my favorite part of what I do is not only the athletic part and challenging my body and in these challenges to bring awareness about the plastic, but also to teach people about respect for Earth, because we all need Earth more than anything. And without a healthy Earth, our money means nothing, and our ocean is suffering right now because there's little education and awareness about plastics.
Yeah, and I am so grateful for folks like you, wave makers, true wave makers like you all, who are making a huge effort to bring awareness, to change the way that we think, to open our eyes, and to be grateful for what we have here in our blue backyard. And I mean, you're going to be getting so much dose of vitamin C and the negative ions that produce positive vibes while you're doing your walk. You're going to be floating in your blue mind. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to follow along. So where can people go to make sure that they can catch all the action, learn about your updates, and find out where they can donate?
So we have a YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook, and that's PlasticSymptoms. We are a nonprofit under the state of Florida with a 501c3 filed. Right now, PlasticSymptoms.org, and it's going through, I was trying to have it finished before this video, but it's going through a whole new facelift. So right now I'm working with a couple of programmers, and I can't say who they actually work with, but they're helping me stay on track with all this stuff. They're actually donating their time to this, but they are giving me some awesome insight on what we plan to do with PlasticSymptoms.org. Is we are creating a forum page for people, like-minded individuals that want to play a role in changing our behavior of trash and plastic and protecting the ocean. For people to collaborate and give each other educational material. PlasticSymptoms.org. Right now, we're accepting donations via cryptocurrency. We will add a PayPal and also a Kickstarter and GoFundMe link on PlasticSymptoms.org. I assume that we will have all that done by the end of this month, no later. So if you guys just want to check back in with us, and I'll make some updates on the Plastic Symptoms Facebook page when we get closer to that.
Awesome. We will definitely make sure we look forward to that, and looking forward to following you along. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your blue backyard with us. It was a great backdrop. Awesome conversation. I feel very empowered about what you're doing. And I really think that a lot of people in our audience are going to truly benefit, especially from that forum. Definitely make sure that we are signed up to that forum, because I'm all over collaborating and sharing resources and how we can be better environmentalists, conservationists, and just really better wave makers. It just takes each one of us doing our little part. So I appreciate the big part that you all play in this big fight against plastic. So thank you so much, Bryan.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate all these good vibes.
Awesome. More good vibes to you all. And thank you all for joining us and for your patience as we figured this all out. But I think by the end, we scored it. So I'll be making sure we add those links below, and we'll be seeing you next time on Conversations by Water.
Thank you so much, Paula.
Bye.
Bye.